You know, it's
Da-da,
gonna be my... We're so gonna get
da-da,
flagged.
da-da, da-da. If they pick up our singing, we deserve it because we're that fucking good.
YouTube was like, did I just hear?
Was that?
Was that?
I don't even
Oh,
know the name of that song.
flagged. I don't even know it either. That's why I installed and flagged that shit. Da 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 da. Flag that shit. We gotta, and it's so funny. So I
What was
felt
your time?
first of all, thank you for checking out the What's
Oh, we're
Up Bro
not doing
podcast.
the.
We'll do it in a minute. We'll do it in a minute.
Oh, okay.
You know how I do it. I like doing it like old school sitcoms where you wait 4 minutes and then it kicks into the intro. Like, oh, that's the cold
Sure.
opening.
The cold
Um,
open.
right. But what was I saying right now?
Da 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 da.
Oh, so I went down a YouTube wormhole because a comedian, a famous comedian, was got in some real shit as far as like I didn't know this.
You got to be
So
more specific.
there's a comedian that is hated on by the fucking internet by
Right.
both other comedians and fans of their show, but they're so successful.
Okay.
Right? I had no idea, right? And I'm only gonna say his name just to give a context because again, I met him
I don't
one
know who you're
time,
talking about.
Brandon Schaub. So
Oh yeah.
Brandon Schaub is a comedian. I met him one time. He was nice to me. He was a nice enough guy. Whatever. Ricky was opening up for him, and I was trying to get a guest spot, but I fucked it up because I walked into the green room because it was the Miami Improv, so it's kind of like it's my home club.
Yeah.
I walked in like, hey man, what's up? Whatever, like all friendly and everybody. And again, he was super nice, but I know when I left, he must have been like, who the fuck was that guy?
Right.
Like, and then Ricky, I'm sure, and again, this is, you know, this is one of those things where he never told me anything, but I'm sure Ricky had to be like, so he's a local comedian, he's a good friend of
Right. Yeah.
mine, but it's that's conjecture, but it's pretty good, it's pretty close, I think. Anyways, so Brandon Schaub, I found out over the weekend, just going down YouTube, that the internet hates him,
Yeah.
right? And other comedians hate him and they bash him, and he's going through a lot of drama because people talk shit about him, and so he has been. And again, I'm only quoting what has been said by other YouTubers who not only apparently they're a YouTube channel. Remember that time? Remember 10 years ago when we started WuBro?
Yeah.
I said what I want to start doing is I want to start listening to other podcasts and then start doing a podcast reviewing those podcasts. And I
Yes,
thought
I
that was like,
remember.
and 10 years ago we were like, oh, that's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
like imagine, but people actually do that now. Like that's a fucking thing
That's
now.
how deep. That's how deep the or like how I guess how shallow that well is, where people are just like, it's like, we're gonna review, this is your number one podcast for
Yeah,
post podcast review from the other
yeah.
podcast.
And
Yeah.
we and I mean I remember saying this to you as a fucking joke, being like, I'm gonna start reviewing Bill Burr's Monday Morning podcast, and then
Yes.
every Tuesday release an episode. Like this is what I thought of
This
the
is the
episode.
Tuesday morning podcast.
Yeah, and just start like, and again, completely joking around, right?
Right.
But people really do this shit now. Apparently, I found this out recently. So people really do this. They went on, and so this is a drama that has crossed over to like three different podcasts, right? So this drama
Yeah.
happened in one podcast on an episode of one podcast. Then he talked about it on a different podcast. Then the original story got talked about it on a third podcast, and then they came together and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then there was a whole thing. So I literally lost an hour and a half of my life just like watching like what's going on here, and they kept saying, um, Gringo, what's the fucking name? Gringo Mexican or some shit. Papi Gringo or some. I don't remember what the fuck the name is, but they kept saying a name that it sounded like it. I know it has Gringo in it,
Okay.
but hearing this and they're like, oh, what do you think about blah? Oh, it was fucking awful and blah blah. And I was like, are they talking about a person? Like I had no fucking idea what they were talking about. So then I had to Google that.
Yeah. Now
And it
you're
turns,
how many layers deep?
yeah, yeah. I'm just like, and again, because I'm on a cruise ship, I got nothing else to do, bro. It's really one of those things where I'm like,
With
I
slow
already,
ass internet that you're like,
yeah,
click,
I
click.
already went to the gym.
Yeah.
I just got nothing else to do. And so it turns out it's the name of his latest comedy special, of Brandon's comedy special. And it's getting trashed
That I
by
do know.
everybody. Like on IMDb, it's 1.1. It's rated 1.1, and
I
then
I
I
have
fell into
the
a wormhole of people reviewing this, YouTubers reviewing, and I was like, oh. And then as a comic, because I don't know the guy, and again, the one time I met him, he was nice, but but the I remember watching this YouTube, and I'm like, oh, come on, guys, it can't be that bad. And then they played clips of it, and I'm like,
yes.
what the
That's
fuck?
what I've seen of it, and I'm
So
like,
all I'm saying out of this long fucking story is to say, how come they could play clips?
we are entitled like that I've been trying to tell you. There's got to be a Creative Commons or some sort of free use license, because we're about to play our intro song, and
Yeah, and we're
and
gonna
we
get
get
flagged for that again. Like it's one of those things where it gets flagged. Our intro song, and look, I'm just lazy. If it was honestly, I should just take away that song and put another song. I'm sure, even though when I got it, it said free music rights,
yeah.
no whatever. I'm sure that's not the case anymore. So if I'm just being lazy, I should just make
Somebody
a new
bought it.
intro song.
Now we're
Yeah,
screwed.
how it's true. But it's not YouTube that flags it. It's Facebook.
Of course, because
Facebook is the one that's like, whoa, we can't play this. But I'm like, but YouTube is fine with it. And they're like, nah,
you can apparently you can do that. We could sit here and play according to videos that I see on YouTube all the time.
yes.
That you could sit here and watch movies and react to it, and it's like my least favorite kind of thing to do, but we could do like not even adding commentary. That's just people like watching YouTube videos as like their content.
Yeah. No, I never understood that. I never understood the
So
whole and people have made millions off of this, by the way, of this
yeah,
whole people watch me play video games. What?
that I
I
kind of understand, because I
I
have done it and
don't.
my brother does it, and it's like at a certain
I'd rather play.
well,
I'd
that's
rather
the
play the
thing.
fucking video game.
At a certain point, I'm just hanging out with my little brother, and people are just hanging out with their friends, and it's just like the conversation that comes up with and all the specific things that they do, because he does
If
like
you
speed runs.
actually know the people, that makes
Right.
sense.
But there's people that are so perpetually online that they think they know the person, and then that's what builds this audience of like these relationships, these parasocial relationships of like, this is my friend because I've been subscribing to him on Twitch for 3
Right.
years and I've given him
Well,
millions of dollars, thousands of dollars.
to some extent, Izu is one of those people. He went to my show, and it's like we know each other, and
Yeah.
and him more than me because he listens to me for hours and hours and hours, throughout the years. I'm that person when I met Dan Soder when I first worked with him. I was like, that was my opening line. I was like, hey, what's up, man? By the way, it might get a little weird because I know so much about you because I listen to so many podcasts with you. So I'm sorry if I throw. And he started laughing because he immediately knew what I was talking about. Because I was like, if I say some shit like, oh, like fucking, that's like when Ricky told you the other day. And he's like, how the fuck do you know that? It's because I listen to podcasts.
Right.
So I feel like I know you, and it's gonna be a little weird for you. So that was my opener, and he started laughing. He's like, thanks, bro. I get it. Like, I understand. But anyways, my whole thing to say all of the stories to say we should be able to fucking play other clips and be like, look at this crazy shit that happened.
Yeah,
and the fact that we can't.
We should observe the ancient ritual of traditional pre-fight donuts.
Yeah! Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Shut up!
Rick, not hit back.
Silly Caucasian girl.
That's the wrong one.
Is it?
That's the kickflix one.
Oh, that's the kickflix. Oh shit, that's hilarious. You know what's so funny? I didn't even, the moment you said that's the wrong one, I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Traditional pre-fight donut is kickflix.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast.
All right. That's
That's it. That's it.
I just wanted to give you, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. You got it. You understood it. All right. Yes. So we have a comment. We have a comment, and the comment was from
Zoraida.
Zoraida says Gringo Papi. That is the name. She is correct. Zoraida is correct. Gringo Papi is the name of the special. And there was one dude that went on a line by line like fucking review, and he said, I hesitate to call this a special because it was 24 minutes long from beginning to end, including the like 24 minutes long. And like, he's like, that's a glorified open mic set, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like this guy, like just it was
24 minutes. It's literally 24 minutes.
It's literally 24 minutes.
That's
yeah. That's not even a half-hour special.
That's not even a half hour. That's barely. That's close to a half hour. God knows what he cut out of
24 minutes is a half-hour special with commercials.
Yes. God knows
Except
what
there
he
was
cut
no
out of
commercials. It was released on YouTube. Yeah, people are like hating on this. I fucking hate it,
bro. Well, he also gets a lot of hate because he gets so much exposure through the Joe Rogan.
Well, that's one of the things that the drama is that he kept insinuating that he's gonna sick Joe Rogan on Bobby Lee. That's one of the things. One of the fucking beefs and dramas was including Bobby Lee's girlfriend or Bobby Lee's wife, and it's a whole fucking thing that he hit on her and all this shit there. And like he's not looking good on the internet. He's not, like, the internet is painting him very, very like douchebaggy, d-bag guy or whatever.
He is. I mean, but like he is that guy. Like that's, you know.
Again, I don't know the guy. That's why I hesitate to say all of this, because I don't know the guy.
He puts that image out for himself. So it's like, it's like, how could you disagree with, nah, he's not like that. And then you cut to a clip of being like, I'm like that. You know, like, so you're like, damn.
So here's the reason why I'm hesitant to say that, because I don't actually know the guy. And people that I do know, I know for a fact there are a lot of people that are not their image. Perfect example is Lisa Lampanelli. Lisa Lampanelli is a personal friend of mine, and her public image is that of like a hardcore, tough, like, oh, I take no shit from nobody.
Right.
And I know her to be the exact opposite. Very sensitive, like cries at any kind of criticism. And I'm not saying this A, in a negative way, and B, I'm not saying anything that had, like, if you see her, the only time I ever watched Celebrity Apprentice was the season she was on, and it was because she's my friend.
Right.
And I was like, to support my friend, I'm going to watch this show until she gets kicked out, and she fucking made it to the final, so I couldn't fucking get out of this show.
How many you're fired?
Yeah. So anyways, my whole point is to say that she's in that show. A lot of other celebrities were like, wow, I'm really surprised that Lisa Lampanelli like was crying, and like she's very emotional. And because if you get to know her for more than 5 minutes off stage, that's who she is.
Yeah.
So I don't know Brendan Schaub other than hi, bye, and I fucking came into his green room like I owned the place. So I was a douchebag in that fucking situation. So maybe I'm sure his public persona is that, but I don't know him, so I don't know if that's his actual personality.
Right.
But the internet is painting that as is legit.
Honestly,
and again,
like,
I'm not saying it's not him, by the way. I just said I don't know him.
But who drops a special of 24 minutes? Oh yeah, Jeff. I just tripped over Jeff Bergacini. That name that was dropped.
I dropped Brendan Schaub? All right, yeah. I guess. I mean, sure.
No, Lisa Lampanelli.
I know. That's the joke, man. Come on, man. Go with it.
Sometimes you don't get things, and I have to clarify.
You know, Stephanie, one time, one of my favorite things is I made a joke where I purposely did it like, like misinterpreted something. And she was like, and then she paused, and I could see it in her face. She paused and she did this, and then she looked at the camera and she's like, sometimes it's very difficult to know if you actually don't understand what's happening, or if you're just, and I was like,
yep, sometimes. Sometimes.
That's what it was. I mispronounced something, and she's like, She did it. She couldn't place whether or not I was mispronouncing it on purpose or not. And I was
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. I'll tell you this. How dare you drop 24 minutes of comedy as a special? Like, we're using hard quotes here. We're using hard quotes. The balls.
And promote it heavily on multiple podcasts. And he has, again, a huge viewership, whether or not they like him. There's a whole Reddit thread dedicated to shitting on his podcast. Like, it's a whole Reddit thread. I'm like, I couldn't even, like, it's so funny because I'm such an attention whore that I'm like, he's got a whole Reddit thread?
I mean, to be fair, he's like, that's the whole thing. There's no such thing as bad press. Like, whatever people are going to check it out, whether it's like to make fun of it or not, he's still getting the views. So God only knows. I will say that there was a thing on TikTok about there was this guy that made a short film or a movie or whatever, and then he was like, I put it on Patreon. He put it on Patreon. And then he had this big TikTok following that didn't really translate over to the Patreon. So he was like mad at like his follower. Like he's like, how come you people don't support my thing? And then another guy was like, I made a short film too. And he's like, I'm kind of like in the right place to talk about.
Right.
I can't, I'm one of the people uniquely able to talk about
Qualified,
this,
yeah.
qualified, you know, like, and he says, and the second I saw the finished product, we were going to do the same thing that he did. And I was like, no, we got to put it up somewhere for free.
Yeah.
And because I want more people to see this than not, and blah, blah, blah. It was like two different approaches.
Right.
And he's just happy when people have seen it, and he doesn't know if he's going to recoup his money, but you know, he put it up on YouTube or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like the modern landscape of like doing anything, like what we're doing right now. Like there's some people watching, we can see the numbers. There's some people watching, there's some people that pop in and pop out, whatever. But it's like, to court an audience right now is so, it's like a minefield, you know, like how do you translate 1 million followers to 100 sales of your film? That is like a Patreon for $5 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, and people still don't do it. It's just because people expect everything for free, and they should. I mean, they should. Everything has ads on it.
Everything is free. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing. I get it, man. I understand.
It's hard. I mean, but the balls to put out a 24-minute comedy. That's not even like.
But he was promoting it, and then they show. So I'm watching the YouTube, and they show clips of Brandon talking about, like, he selling the fuck out of it. Like, hey, I'm gonna drop this, and then he was like, I've worked 2 years on this. Like, he was so like selling the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And they said that out of the 24 minutes, I forgot if it was 10 or if it was 15 minutes of that was COVID material that's now outdated. And you're
which is like, are you like there? It's at that thing of like, are you lying or are you just that wrong about what you're saying? Like, are you like, how could you have worked 2 years on COVID material?
Well, you could, because it came out in 2020. So you could work on 2 years, you know, but again, if it's 2022, maybe it's not working anymore. Like, it can't be working still.
Someone broke down his like the overuse of like his punchlines are said under his breath, and then he goes anyway, and then he like says yeah, but I'm gay, whatever, anyway, and he does he said one of that was something about him like making a gay statement.
The YouTube video that I saw that did, it was like the clips that they showed of it were a lot of stereotypical racial, like, and then the UFC doctor was like, oh, Mr. Schaub, I cannot, and whatever, you know, obviously implying that he's Asian. And then this YouTuber was phenomenal. Then he cut to a clip of the real life doctor, the real life UFC doctor, who was like, my name is Jim Lee, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm saying Jim Lee.
Yeah.
It was like, my name is Jim Lee. And then it was like an obvious Asian man, but spoke in clear, perfect English, like no accent whatsoever. And it's like it's so the way YouTuber cut it, I was like, oh man. And it's one of the comments, I think it was one of the pinned comments, it was like, the fact that you spent hours culminating all these clips from different podcasts to give the storyline of what's happening with this drama and this.
Now I want to see it because I want more details.
It's an hour long that I was like, okay, here we go. Like, what's going on? Like, I couldn't understand all of this because I kept hearing the name Gringo Papi, and I'm like, who the fuck is Gringo Papi? Like, first of all, that's not an awful name for a special. I think that's a pretty cool name for a special. And he talks about his wife being Mexican, and then the YouTuber was like, she's not. I was like, oh no, man. What the fuck?
His wife isn't. Why would you say that?
But that's what the YouTuber said. I think I don't know if that's true. I don't know anything about this guy, so I can't confirm or deny anything. I'm not saying, but I was like, oh shit, I don't know anything about him. So
if it is true
that she's not Mexican, it would be obvious as to why somebody would do that. Is to be able to make those jokes. Like, I got jokes, I got racial jokes, and I just need, you know what I mean? Like, I have a gay joke, and this joke, my brother's gay, so I can say it. Let me tell the audience my brother's gay, so they're
I have a black friend.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so bad.
Oh, okay. Was it this guy speaking for funny?
Maybe is it an hour long?
It's 20 minutes long.
No. It's an hour long. It's an hour long.
You're lying. There's no way.
No, Jeff. Look, I'm saying it's about it, but it's all about. Let me see.
Wait,
Hold on,
I
let me
will
see.
say I just saw a thing that said that. So like the first image that pops up on the video is a disclaimer that we can use that says copyright disclaimer under section 107 of Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, da. So we need to start putting that.
But you know why? You know why
videos.
But you know why they put that, right?
Because they use a bunch of videos from like crazy.
Not only that. I learned this in this video. In this video about Brandon Shaw, they talked about that he is pressing charges and requested YouTube to take down videos that are critiquing him. So in the video itself, the guy, the YouTuber says, if this video gets taken down, you know why. Like he says it. It's like crazy. So I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
So,
what
but yeah, we could always copy.
But
this
that's the reason why.
disclaimer
I'm sure that's the reason why in that particular video, that guy was like, "I am allowed to."
An hour
as per.
long.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Can I send it to? I sent it to Jeff, and Jeff was like, "Oh yeah," Jeff knew all about it. He was all in the sauce already, and I'm like, "I just fucking tripped and I put in this YouTube hole," and he was like, "Yeah, I got." He's like, and then he started like giving me details. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
Well, let's just say this, Jeff Mercantini, ironically, while you're looking for that, ironically, the best thing that they ever did on his podcast involved a bit with Bobby Lee when they weren't beefing. Zoraida says, if I buy a ticket to see his comedy, I want more than 20-something minutes.
And
I don't know if you do.
I'm sure.
I don't know if you do. I would challenge that you might not. At the end of the 21st minute, you'd be like,
I don't know if you're gonna take that long. To be honest with you,
I know it's pretty brutal. As I said, COVID jokes are still working at school. I will tell you this: COVID jokes no longer work at the hospital. We are tired of COVID jokes.
You know, I stopped doing the few COVID jokes because it wasn't COVID jokes. It was more pandemic jokes. It was more, yeah, not really staying at home. More like the shit that I had to do. Like I applied for, which is all true stories. I applied for a job. I got turned down by Target. Target turned me down for a job. And those are all true stories. But
I remember you were telling me, we were talking about it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I did stop doing is just because it wasn't working anymore. So one of them, I can't find the video anymore, but one of them says, how bad was the Gringo Poppy, right? Is that the one you found?
Jeff, yeah, the Gringo Poppy was the worst thing ever made is the one that I saw.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Let me see here.
But my curiosity is, Jeff Mercantini was the one that you were talking, that you sent it to?
Yeah.
Jeff, if you know which video it is.
Well, I sent it to him. I'm looking in the chat, and I sent it to him, and it says... It says, how bad is the Gringo Poppy? And
it's only 15 minutes, you liar.
No, this one's 15 minutes. But I'm telling you, the reason I got into this one is because I watched an hour long of the podcast beef.
Oh.
There was an hour long video of the podcast beef. And then in that video, they kept mentioning Gringo Poppy. And I'm like, what the fuck is Gringo Poppy? So then I Googled Gringo Poppy, and this is the fucking video that popped up.
Got it.
So that's the whole reason. Yeah, so that 15-minute video is, but it's so fucking funny. It made me laugh when it was like, how bad is the Gringo Poppy? Where do I begin? which is again, just I'm not laughing at the guy because again, I don't know. I feel really bad because as a comic, I feel
you
bad
can laugh. Why are you so hesitant to say you're laughing?
Because he's a comic. And I feel bad about talking. I don't want to feel like I'm talking.
Who made a bad decision to put out a shitty fucking EP
again, but I don't know if it's a shitty EP because I haven't seen it. I just saw the 2 minutes of clips that this guy posted in his 15-minute rant. So I can verify.
The other 22 minutes, yeah, you can neither confirm nor deny. But it's one of those things where it's like, man, if I saw something that you did where I'm like, hey man, that's rough, don't put that out. That's not for the public to consume.
I don't think anybody. So one of the videos that I saw, one of the videos that I saw. No, I'm saying I don't think he has those kind of friends around him. That's like, yo, that wasn't good, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's the truth. So one of the videos that I saw was this British dude, and he's like, I'm tired of fucking comedians being fucking hypocrites. Comedians talking shit, blah blah blah. Then he plays a clip of Andrew Schultz, who's a fucking beast.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Monster. And I've been saying this for years before he popped off on fucking.
I met him. I've seen him here.
I've worked with him. I've worked with him a bunch of times, and he is a fucking beast. So he's on the video promoting his special, right? This is a couple months ago, Andrew, right? So
the
Schultz
one
is
that
on the,
that story is a whole other really cool thing.
Yeah, that's cool. So Schultz is on a podcast promoting his upcoming. It's not released, but at that point it was upcoming special. And this guy was like, they asked him about Gringo Papi. He's like, what do you think about Gringo Papi? And he's like, yo, why are you guys trying to fucking? He's like, yo, shout out to Brendan Shaw, man. He's fucking hilarious, blah blah. And then this guy pauses the video. He goes, no, he's not. No, he's not. He was like, I know you don't think he's fucking. And then Schaub says on the podcast, Schaub says, and this dude, you know, he has a great podcast. I love that podcast. It's a hilarious podcast. And then he stops and he goes, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
If you would have thought he would, and then he's talking to Schaub. He's like, this is what I'm talking about. Schaub is defending him, and he may be. If he wanted to say, bro, look, I like the guy as a person, so I don't want to talk shit about him as a comic. That's one thing, right? But he's not saying that. He's saying that he has a great podcast, and he goes, and I know he's not doing that because he didn't go on there to promote his fucking special. So he's talking to Schultz. He's like, Schultz, if it's so good, if his podcast is so good, why didn't you go on there to promote? You went on other and he posted clips of all the other podcasts that Schultz was on to promote that special. Fucking Rogan, this and that, blah, blah, like all these other things. He was like, it's not like the Kid and the Fighter don't have massive numbers. They have a massive number, but why didn't you go on there to promote your special? You didn't go on there because you didn't think it was funny. If you would have thought the show was funny, you would have been on there. You know, so he's like, all this shit there. And I couldn't even, I sat there and I was like, well, I mean, there's
who?
Truth to that.
And you lost me a little bit. He was saying the British guy was saying that Schaub.
Schultz is talking. Schultz was being a hypocrite because he's defending Schaub, saying, "Oh, Schaub is hilarious. His podcast is hilarious. I don't know why people are hating." It's like, no, it's not hilarious. It's not hilarious.
Right,
it's like it's not even. If you would have thought it was hilarious, you would have been on there promoting your special, but you didn't. You went on every other podcast. Like you went on all these other people. You went on and he named at one point he did a screenshot of all the podcasts that Schultz was on to promote his special, and he's like, "Why weren't you on the Fighting the Kid?"
Look at the culture, man. Look at the culture of online critiques and criticism.
Yeah, it's so weird. And he talked about that British dude, that British YouTuber talked about it. He was like, people always talk shit like, oh, this. It's like you reap what you sow. If your fan base is all lovey dovey, is all like it's all love, baby. That's what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna attract. It's like if your brand is I'm a tough guy and I'm fucking fuck you and I don't take shit from nobody, then that's what you're gonna attract. You're gonna attract that thing. And I'm watching this, and as I'm watching this as a comedian, I'm like, man, is he in the industry? Because that's exactly how his shit is. That's why I refuse to go negative on anything. That's why I refuse to be like that edgy comic, because that's not who I am. Like,
is it edgy to be honest?
It's not. Again, it depends.
I feel like that's like all these dudes that are like counterculture or cancel culture and all that stuff. You can't say shit, and then you're like, oh, does your friend's special? Is it good?
Yeah, but again, like, I don't. But again, I don't know. Okay, so edgy to me is different. Like edgy is like I'm gonna fucking do rape jokes because it's you don't like rape jokes, so I'm gonna go out of my way to do rape jokes. That's what I consider edgy, right? I just don't like negative. I don't like going negative. I don't like being like, yo, that guy's fucking special sucks.
I'm not saying I'm saying whether or not it's good.
I'm not saying
bad.
dishonest. I'm not saying dishonest, by the way. Notice how I'm not saying I just rather not go negative.
Everybody's being so fucking like that's the thing. It's like look, I'm not afraid that Brendan Schaub. I'm pretty sure he's not one of WuBro's Patreon subscribers.
Now with that attitude, Mike. Now with that attitude.
If he is, I would still say thank you for your money. But how dare you release 24 minutes of comedy? Like I get it if it was like, remember when HBO had the half-hour comedy hour?
Yes.
That shit that you could actually like. There was a platform for half-hour specials at Comedy Central. There was a platform on HBO. There was
there's still a platform on Netflix. You
Yeah,
just Earthquake just released a half-hour special, and it's fucking killer, bro.
yeah.
It's literally like 34 minutes.
I don't
It's
understand
fucking
why
killer.
that platform isn't a bigger thing. Like why like if you're gonna cure, especially like when Bill Burr presents, like Bill Burr did the thing of like
Right, right.
the crusher, what do you call them, the killers, the I forget what he calls it,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's like these, and even Netflix tried to do like showcase shows of like
Yeah,
10-minute specials,
yeah, yeah.
like they used to do, like Premium Blend, like all of these other
Right.
Comedy Central. Like there is a precedent set for these kind of specials, but because of like YouTube videos and TikTok and all the reels that people do, like where there's even in the special I just saw, the Sam Morril special on Netflix,
Mhm.
same
Is it
time
good?
tomorrow, great, awesome.
I know Sam. I've worked with Sam. Yeah,
Dude's really funny,
really
and
funny.
and
When the whole thing went down with Dog the Bounty Hunter, I worked with him that weekend. When that whole
oh
thing
my
went down, when
god,
Dog the Bounty Hunter said the N word, and he was
yeah,
like, "Where does this fucking alternate universe Hulk Hogan come off?" Fucking like, and I couldn't. I remember that phrasing. I was like, "Alternate universe Hulk Hogan." Holy fuck! This is like
it's worth a watch. Hey, the Sam Morril special gets 2 thumbs up. It's really good. I liked it, but he did. There's a thing where he referenced something off stage, so he put the captions like you would have on a TikTok video.
right,
And then
right,
whenever anybody from the audience was talking, he put the like a stylized caption
right.
to show like so that people could have it. And it's because of like it's super smart. Like because the people are
I,
used to seeing shit with subtitles now. It
so
doesn't
I'm
throw
not
people
saying
off.
that it's not smart, but what I am saying is it's smart for right now.
Yes.
In 15, 20 years, people will be like, "Oh my god, you fucking put those fucking color captions." That's such a dated. It's such a dated. Like
It
it's
will
gonna be
be.
dated. It
It'll
will
be
be. It's
dated
absolutely.
it'll be dated
Have you
in a
ever gone?
year.
Have you ever gone back to watch The Sopranos?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that
There's a
where
lot.
it's
There's a lot of stylized, like fucking, like Predator, fucking, that fucking. You remember that video? I am Predator. I'm a
yes, yes,
loser,
yes.
baby. So that video, there's
I'm
a lot
watching
of that.
Breaking Bad now, so
There's
there's
a
a lot
lot
of
of
that in there
so
too.
good, but there's a lot of that in The Sopranos. The first season, specifically the first season, you're like,
Yes.
what year is this? Like, it's the most '90s shit that I've ever seen. It's like, are they fucking wearing Jenkos? What the fuck is happening
Well, they
here?
defined
And
it.
but
That's the whole
the
point.
way but it's more than just clothes. The way they edit, the way
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, this is straight '90s shit. And I'm sure then it was like, this is fucking look how cool this is. And it's like, oh, okay. So nothing against Sam Morril. Again, he's hilarious. I just love the fact that you're like, it's smart for him. It is smart, but it's smart for him right now because this shit is gonna get dated quick.
Well,
I believe. Maybe
I
I'm
will
wrong.
say this. I have a thing. So I was talking to this girl I work with, and I mentioned that I had the same phone number since 1999, and she was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, I wasn't even born then." And I'm like, "Whoa."
Yeah. Yeah.
And in my mind, I had a moment of like, "Fuck you," but it was immediately I realized, oh, it's not that she just has no frame of
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She's just been alive for as long as she's been alive. That's it.
I do that joke on stage when I talk to the
Uh,
audience, and I go, "How old are you, man? You look very young." And he was like 18. I'm like, "What year? Like, when's your birthday?" I always do that thing, like, "When's your birthday?"
yeah.
If they take their time, if they don't know when their birthday is, I'm like, "Ah, you're full of shit. You're not fucking." But so recently, I'm like, "When's your birthday?" And I'm like, and they're like, "Blah blah blah." I'm like, "What year, asshole?" And then he was like, 2003, and I'm like, "What? What the
2000?
fuck?" I was like, "What? No.
See,
Let's start doing the math." And I'm like, "What the fuck, 2003?" Like, it's
yeah.
so crazy to me that somebody's at my show that was born in I was born after I already graduated high school. Like, it's
Right.
so
Yes.
fucking bonkers to me where I'm like,
But I had that moment of explaining. I had the moment of explaining, like, yeah, it had to do with like about an app. Like you had to download another app and give it permissions for all this stuff. Whatever. I don't remember how we got to talking about. And then I was like, well, you're talking to a person who's been on the internet since the internet like became
was a
public for
thing, yeah.
like for public
Yeah.
consumption. So like the progress and the process of everything I've had to like muscle through. Like I was talking about when I worked at Best Buy and we like DSL internet first came out. Like
Yeah.
and it was a big deal. And I remember like that's the thing, is that I've had like these leaps and bound changes
Mm-hmm.
in just what being on the internet means, and how and like the fact that I knew a time before it existed, and it was all about like how much of your data you just throw away, and then how much of your media you consume that was never meant to be seen again, right? If you missed some Saturday Night Live episode
Yeah, it
in
was
the
gone.
80s,
Yeah, it
you
was
never
gone.
saw it again
In the
until
90s.
now.
In the
And in the
90s.
90s, you used to have VCR, but also movies that came out in like the 50s and the 60s and even like the 70s, when before like VHS became popular. Nobody expected people to pause a movie. What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna
Yeah.
notice a flaw in our, now we're watching it in like 4K high definition
Nobody's
remasters.
noticing that it's a dummy in the car. Nobody notices that.
People know American Sniper when he's holding the fake ass baby, like people. But the thing is that people on
That's a good
second,
story though. The reason why, you know, the reason why that happened, they had an actor baby, but the baby got sick. And then they were like, yeah, like it was just for one scene, but the baby got sick, so they couldn't put the baby in the fucking scene because, you know, he was bitching about it. Like, oh, I'm fucking sick. I don't fucking, what a fucking diva this baby was. So they, so then they were trying to find another kid and they couldn't. Like the day was about to run out, and they're like, just put him in the fuck, give him a doll. Who gives a shit?
yeah.
Like I gotta shoot this shot. I gotta shoot.
We'll fix it in post, and then they
Fix it
did
in
not
post.
fix it in post.
Famous
The point
line.
of it all was to say that anytime someone's making something, they're making it for the now. They're not planning on it making a timeless classic. They want to make it now. You know, no one's.
Every time I hear that phrase, the now, I think of Seinfeld's joke about the Olympics. Like you train 4 years and you train all that stuff there, and you're like, and then you miss it by like a half a quarter of a second. And it's like, you know how fast that is? Like, no. It's like ready, set, go. You missed it. That's the difference between gold and silver, and like not placing it all.
Well, yeah, but that's a thing in sports too. That like all of these records that are getting broken, like every record that gets broken has to have an asterisk on it because of what we now know of medicine, of medical knowledge, of like, yeah.
Oh, you mean performance enhancing drugs? I'm like, oh, okay.
Not even that.
Yeah, I know. It's called ibuprofen, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like, hey, did you know that yeah, it's like you know that it, like these, like you look at the old like football play, like the like NFL films, which I love.
Yeah.
The fucking classical music,
yeah, of course,
over slow motion film footage of NFL players with no face masks on and shit, like, or like one bar, you know. And then they're like, think about like how many more sacks you can get if you don't have like a full hand in your face mask that was now prevented by safety regulations. You know what I mean? Like, everything should have an asterisk on it because it didn't exist. Nothing, the measurement tool didn't exist when they set the original record. And even then, who knows if the original record's accurate, because they're like, it's about 400 feet, longest home run in the world. You know, and you're like, what? How did you measure that? It's like, hey, it landed over there.
Right there.
It's
right
in that vicinity.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. There's a video I wanted to show you. It's a deep fake. And this guy does deep fakes.
Is it porn? I look, we can watch videos, but we cannot show porn.
Well, not with that attitude. You know, keep fucking doing that bullshit. But I want to hold on because I saw it today and I was like,
wait, hold on. I just saw this comment. I don't want to address it. Rookie, I'm gonna start saying Bill Burr like Mike does. Bill Burr Baggins. Did I say it fast?
Is that how you call it?
Did I say Bill Burr? Did I say like Bill? Did I say Bill? I mean, his name is actually short.
I didn't know you said that way, but yeah.
I didn't say it. I don't know how I said it, but Rookie heard Bill Burr Baggins.
That's funny. Rookie says, talking about Gringo Poppy, because I already saw like 2 minutes of it. He goes, that's like 20%. That's enough to form an opinion.
Rookie with the heat.
Jeff says that it's a rough listen.
The podcast, I'm imagining.
I don't know. Maybe Gringo Poppy.
Both.
Gringo. What about the parallel between Gringo Poppy and Keenan Thompson's Big Poppy bit on SNL? I found this on YouTube. Soap visuals. Again, I don't know what the Gringo Poppy
bit is.
I don't know if that's in reference to.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't know Keenan Thompson's Big Poppy bit. I'm assuming he plays Big Poppy.
He's just Big Poppy on SNL. He just does a real Dominican ass guy.
But he just says Big Poppy. That's all he says. I'm sure because he does it in Spanish. So I'm sure he says Big Poppy, Big Poppy.
He says, yeah, it's a good bit. It's a fun. It's a Weekend Updates character.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of SNL, right? And I listen to podcasts that have the Smart List podcast that has Will Arnett.
Yeah.
And they are constantly interviewing people who were at one point on SNL. And even though Will Arnett technically wasn't on SNL, he was married to Amy Poehler for 1,000 years while she was on SNL. So he knows all the stories, behind the scenes stories, whatever. And whenever he's talking about SNL, he talks about it very fondly. Of course he does. But in my mind, I'm just not I've never been a huge fan of SNL. But I will say this, throughout the years, Weekend Update is just always like the best part of that fucking show.
Weekend Update.
There are a lot of times where I've sat through an episode for the host because I'm a fan of this host. And then I'm like, man, the only funny thing was Weekend Update. Like, that's the only funny that I found enjoyable. And I'm right. And again, that's not even a bad thing. That's not even an insult, man. The show is an hour and a half long. Like, that's a lot every fucking week to pull that. That's a lot of shit to pull off, man. So I'm not but I'm just, my whole point is to
disclaimer. Yes.
No. My whole point is to give credit, to give the flowers to Weekend Update, because that segment through fucking 30 years, like Norm Macdonald, fucking Tina Fey, and Amy Poehler. Che now is fucking killing it. Michael Che
and Colin Jost. It's the best I think it's been in a long time.
So since fucking Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, to me that was my benchmark.
Yeah, they were great too. I liked Seth Meyers on.
Seth Meyers was phenomenal.
Update. Yeah, because that was the best. The peak was Seth Meyers and Stefan. Those when they were doing when really Stefan came out, really that was like I remember me and Chris, my best friend Chris, we were like we literally sat down and he's like, "Do you not?" He showed it to me. He's like, "Do you not know what this is?" He's like, I was like, what are you talking about? And he showed me Stefan, and he showed me like all the Stefans for like three that had been aired since then. And we were like crying, laughing at everything. It's just like the perfect. I
love when he tells a story of Stefan. What's his name? Tells a story of Stefan because he goes, there are so many times because this guy does not like breaking. What's his name? No, Mr. SNL himself, the fucking creator.
Lorne Michaels?
Lorne Michaels does not encourage breaking. He does not encourage breaking character. He does not like. That's why he has every line drawn up on cue cards for fucking 40 years. He's like, oh yeah, I got it. No, you don't. Like, you got to read you have to read the cue cards. Like, there's no improvising. He doesn't like. That's the story. That he doesn't like any improvising whatsoever. So, but Bill Hader said that he could not hold it, and then that's why he came up with that whole fucking cover your mouth thing, like because he's like, I couldn't hold the laughter, like it was impossible for me to physically hold the laughter.
And John Mulaney would fuck with him on the cue cards by adding shit to it, like last minute.
Everything he reads, everything that's on the teleprompter, he reads. And suck my balls, San Diego.
Ron Burgundy. What were we talking about? What were you gonna show me?
That fucking thing is so funny to me. What a great movie. God damn, I love that movie. Anchorman?
My first Anchorman was...
Oh, yeah, that's the only one I'm talking about.
That's the only one that exists. There are 2 bad Anchorman 2s. There are 2 bad versions of it.
Oh, are they really?
They did another
one.
I just thought it was one. Alternate takes.
Really?
They did it with different jokes, and they're nowhere... You know what? I'm sure if it came out... independent of the original Anchorman, it would have been like fine, but the first Anchorman is like iconic that it's like it has a lot to live up to. Now I just watched the bloopers from Anchorman 2.
Hold on a second here.
What was it that you were looking for?
Oh man, I called Richard Pryor's house up and said, "Yo, Richard,
look at his face.
Bill Cosby just called me up and told me I was too dirty." And Richard said, "The next time motherfucker call, tell him I said suck my dick."
Oh wow. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Look at
I don't give a fuck. Whatever the fuck make the people laugh, say that shit. People laugh when you say what you say. I said, yes. He said, do you get paid? I said, yes. He said, well, tell Bill. I said, have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
Amazing.
Right?
Wow.
What? Like I mean, again, for the audio listener, the guy's name is Brian. Fuck, what was it? Brian Monarch. That's his Instagram handle.
Oh my,
Brian
that was
Monarch.
fucking
BRIANMONA.
crazy.
But he has a bunch of those. It's not just, he doesn't just do it with stand-up clips. He does, like, there's one of where he deep faked Theo Vaughn on Tekashi 6ix9ine, and it's so fucking hilariously good. It's so good. You're like, is that Theo Vaughn as like, I thought Theo Vaughn was acting as Tekashi, like doing a skit.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, that was just it's so good, dude. It's so fucking good.
There was a girl that did her, like, she started a TikTok account and whatever with a completely AI generated deep fake person. And
Simone.
Huh?
That's Simone.
Simone. What's Simone?
Simone is a movie. It came out, I believe, in the early 2000s. It's an Al Pacino movie where he created a fucking AI actress, a hot woman, and she ended up with, and then it was one of those things where he couldn't take it off. So it was one of those things. It was a program,
right?
And then he was like, she was getting all the credit, and he got no credit. She won an Oscar. Nobody ever actually met her because she was a fucking computer-generated image.
Right.
And she won an Oscar. And in her Oscar speech, which, by the way, he himself wrote and performed, but it was all motion capped and other stuff there, he forgot to thank himself as a director. And so his wife, Al Pacino's character's wife, was like, she forgot to thank you. And he's like, no, she didn't. And he's like, yeah, she forgot to thank you. And so, like, it spun out of control. And then it just like whatever. So that's what this girl did. I don't know.
And then one day she dropped the character after having like gained like a shit ton of followers.
Yeah.
It was it was like.
Did they feel betrayed? Was there backlash?
I don't know. I don't. It was like one of those like videos that I flipped through, and then I went back to the account, and I was like, what? And it was like so much that I did not realize. I couldn't process what I was observing. That all of this was fake, and I'm like, "There's no way she's lying about the fake video that it was a fake."
Right.
And this is a guy that she's like working with or something, and I just my brain couldn't handle it. And by that time, because TikTok rots your brain, I was like, and I just went to the next thing of some guy making a bowl on a lathe, and I was like, yes, good, thank you, serotonin,
cleanser, thank
you, brain
you.
chemical. And then some ASMR of people, some Chinese man making a bamboo something, and it's just like, yes, yes.
All right, I'm in. Keep talking.
Me.
In the most recent commentary. In the most recent TikTok video that I posted for like, I don't know, so like 3 videos ago, I was getting high numbers from me for my in perspective. I was getting like over 1,000 views. I'm like, oh, that's a big deal for me on TikTok because I'd never get anything. And then the last video I posted, which I find to be a good video, I got 200. And I'm like, 200? Fuck. And then, like, I didn't know this, but Instagram now, again, because I'm not a TikTok person, but Instagram now is like, oh, here are your insights. And then it says 98% of people dropped off after, and it says 2 seconds. I'm like, 2 seconds? Two? I literally, in those 2 seconds, I go, oh, it is not an insult. That's it. That's all I fucking said in 2 seconds. And I'm like, that's the attention span that I gotta fuck with now? 2 seconds? I'm
2
like,
seconds,
baby.
2 seconds.
Like, what can I'm gonna open up every fucking clip now from say vagina boob, and people are like,
well, no, because then TikTok might take it down for inappropriate content.
Well, that's why I said vagina boob, and I didn't say dick pussy. So I said vagina boob. You gotta think, Mike. You gotta think.
They're not related in any way. I was like trying to see the connection. Vagina boob, dick puss. Wait, what?
But I'm gonna open up every TikTok with
titties.
That was by the way, that was a Family Guy reference, by the way. The vagina boom, when they did the how they do a couple episodes where it's like every commercial break they're gonna parody a movie.
Yeah.
One of them was Shawshank Redemption, and then Cleveland Brown was Morgan Freeman's character, and it's like it took it took Anna Dufresne 6 weeks to say 2 words to me. And then he walked over to him and he goes, vagina boob. And then he just walked away. and then he goes, and it took him another 6 weeks to say anything of importance. Like that was the joke. But I thought that was the funniest thing. It was like vagina boob. That was your 2 words.
My
right?
I stopped watching Family Guy a long time ago.
Oh, so good,
I'm sure
man.
it's fine.
So good.
I will tell you that I own the original DVD box sets
I
that
did,
got
yeah.
them
So yeah, of course.
renewed, and
Yeah.
there's a joke on there that till this day I think is the hardest I've ever laughed at that show. It was when
Well, you stopped watching, so yeah, that'd be.
I know, but
It'd be
but
very
like
easy to
everything I've seen,
gauge.
it was when he's like it was one of those cutaway things where it's like where they describe it and then they show you what's about to happen.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, it wasn't until I was 30 that the first time I passed gas, and then it just shows him like as like a 30-year-old Peter Griffin sitting on a beanbag chair, and he just goes, "What the hell is that?" And then just cuts back. And to be like, I had to pause it. I was winded. I could not breathe at how hard I was laughing at how
There's been a lot of
dumb it was.
times.
What the
There's
hell
been
is
a lot
that?
of times. There was one time where Quagmire found out you could watch porn on the internet. Like he didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Like that was so. He's like, and then everybody was like, wait, what? No, you out of all people, you know this. You could watch porn. He's like, wait, what? Like he was being completely, and then people had to teach him, and he's like,
Yeah.
wait, are you serious? There's porn on the internet? There's like I thought it was just for nerds. I thought the internet was just like computer nerds. He's like, what are you talking about? And then they don't see him for 6 weeks. They don't see him for 2 weeks or whatever long it takes.
Yeah.
And then he's with a beard and his stumble, and he turns around and his left hand is all fucking jacked. I love that fucking show. It's still great. It's still great. I've watched every episode.
Really?
Like recently too. Like I went on a binge where I'm like, oh, I haven't seen the last 3 or 4 seasons, and then I watched the last 3 or 4 seasons within the last. Like it's just so fucking good.
We got to do the thing where I read everything that we are supposed to talk about to make sure we've talked about it.
Oh well, give me the description because this description was written last week for an episode that did not happen. So great.
House of the Dragon,
House of the Dragon.
Prey and Kim and Pete are over. What? See, this is the dated reference we're talking about. We're immediately dated. We are not going to talk about Kim and Pete.
Kim and Pete were dated when I wrote that because I was like, I got nothing else. I got to write 3 things and I got nothing else.
Rule of threes. Rule of threes.
Rule of threes. And I found out about Kim and Pete 3 weeks late. So here we go.
I want to talk about it now. House of the Dragon. I'm watching it. I cannot tell you how I do not care because I know that Game of Thrones ends shitty. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but it's kind of like petty. It's super fucking petty.
Look, I'm watching it. It's good.
It's like I can't enjoy this ride because I know this ride will one day be that ride, and I don't care about that ride.
I'm separate. Like I'm watching it. I'm enjoying it. Well, I mean, it's like
no, you're not. Every time
you're
judgmentally. You're doing this.
No. It's
fine. I'll watch.
It's the burden of the prequel. Knowing that the original didn't end like it's I will say generally viewed as a bad ending. I'm not going to say it's
sure.
Like the public has spoken.
Yeah,
nobody did not like.
But nobody. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you.
Right. So for me, when they're talking about like all of the stuff that's going to happen with the Targaryen, I'm sure it's going to be a cool story, but I hate the fact that I know that it ends like it does. Like I'm like, yeah, but all of it's useless and it doesn't mean anything because of what happens later. You know, it was like the Star Wars prequels where we're like, yeah, we know what we're getting and it's going to be cool to see what it was, but because the Star Wars trilogy, people were like, it was like this perfect encapsulated thing, and then people became obsessed about it. But whatever. The idea that people love the trilogy, the original trilogy, so much that when the prequels came out, they were too harsh on the prequels for being like, "Hey, this is what you want: is a young Darth Vader, is a young Boba Fett. Here we go." You know.
Yeah,
but
I feel
it's hard for me to get into it.
I've had this conversation with Jeff. Where Jeff was like, when the sequel trilogy started coming out, I think it was part 7, maybe part 8. I think it was right when part 8 came out. Because he hated part 7 so much, and I was like, and because his qualm at that time, and Jeff is here, he's on the comments, so I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong. If I remember correctly, his thing was like, why are that part 8 was just like a rehash of the original trilogy. It's like
part 7. 7 was literally just another Death Star.
Right, something like that. And then so his thing with part 8 was that they strayed too far away. And I remember my comment was, well, you can't. Like people complain about part 7 because it was a copy and paste of the original trilogy, and now people are mad at part 8 because it strayed too much. It's like it's this weird balancing act of like you got to please everybody and you can't please everybody, but at the same time, the reasons you can't please everybody is because people were pissed last time because you stuck too close to the original thing that you loved. And now you're mad because they went too far away from the original thing that you loved. It's like, Jesus Christ, like I can't. I would hate to like as much as like I'm not a filmmaker by any means, stretch of the imagination. But if I was a filmmaker and somebody goes, "Hey, do you want to direct a new Star Wars?" I'd be like, "Fuck that!" I'd be like, "Get the fuck away from me!" I wouldn't want to do it. I would like you. It's impossible to be. It's impossible. Like those part 7 and part 8 are worlds apart from each other. No pun intended. Are worlds apart from each other. In every kind of way,
you know,
and you can't fucking, and nobody was happy with either one of them. Like
I agree.
It's so weird. It's a weird thing. So this whole House of Dragon thing, I haven't watched it yet because you know how I am. You know how I do.
Yeah.
I like to binge my shit, son. But like people are like, oh, Will did the same thing. Watkins posted about it. You know, he posted a thing about it on Instagram and it was like, it's so hard to get into fucking House of Dragons, knowing how fucking much of a turd it comes out to be at the end, and you're like, okay. I mean, I can't. You're not wrong. It's just a weird way to experience life.
It's hard to process. It's hard to like because I like the show. If it was like an alternate history of like this is another version of the story being told. Right, like if like Game of Thrones was one historian's version, and now we're getting another version, so it may not.
So what they should have done for House of Dragon, they should have opened up with Doctor Strange doing this shit.
It should have, yeah.
And they'd be like, we're in another, and then Rick and Morty comes out, and they're like, wait, so are you saying that shitty ending didn't happen? Not in this universe. They look right into the camera, and then the portal out, and then that's where we're left with that fucking thing.
And they're gone. Yeah, no, the idea of so like exactly like what you were talking about with the sequels. Once the second one came out, I did not like the second one for itself. There was parts of it where I was like, these are weird choices to make in this world. Like this is not great. I actually liked 7 because it was like a rehash a little bit, and I'm like, okay, and then that'll be the jumping off point for the new story. Like, yeah, bring it back around. This is the first thing that we've had since the prequels. Let's incorporate, you know, like, yeah, fine, let's remember. Yes,
I loved all of it. But
my point,
again,
my point
is has been
when I'm
not the Star Wars guy, so
right? When episode 8 came out, and I was like, man, like there's like no plan. And then when 9 came out and all of the shit happened that they were like, we're good, that erased somehow Palpatine returned, and somehow this bullshit happened, and then it was this thing of like, oh, they didn't have an idea of this whole property has like 1.5 million stories that they could have done, and they're still talking about the same fucking people. Or if they're going to talk about the same fucking people, tell a better story that had a plan from beginning to end. And then
what I think fucked up with 9 is like one thing I didn't like about 9, and I did enjoy 9. I think 9 is probably my favorite aside from Rogue One.
Rogue One is dope.
Yeah. But aside from that, the problem with 9 was that they overcorrected from 8.
Yeah.
So many people were like, the fans shit on 8 so much that Kathleen, whatever the fucking Aunt Kennedy, was like, well, we gotta correct, and then they spent a lot of time in 9 fixing the shit that did, or quote unquote fixing. And in my mind, I was just like, oh, okay, I guess. Like I'm ready, because I'm not the dude wearing a Star Wars shirt from the 70s. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, okay, I'm in the ride. Just take me wherever you want to take me, and I'll enjoy it.
Right.
But I was in the ride for 9, going like, but I thought you said.
But wait a minute.
Nobody.
What happened to the little kid with the broom?
Yeah,
shit
what
like that. Like, look,
I
I
didn't
get
even
it.
care about that. I was just like, no, but you said that her parents were nobody. Oh, we're changing that? Okay. Like,
Yeah.
it just, for me, it was just that hesitation. Like, I thought you said they were nobody. Oh, no, they are somebody? Okay, cool. Like, that's where my pause comes. I still enjoyed 9 a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
But
I
again,
love.
it was just, instead of like, this is awesome, it was like, wait, what? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Like, that was
I
my,
found I
a lot
found a
of people.
copy online of the Colin Trevorrow original script for the what was supposed to be 9 after
Right.
after 8. After
Before
Last
he got
Jedi.
fired. Before he
Yeah.
got fired.
But that followed the trajectory that they set up in
Right.
8,
And
and it was so much better. It's so dope.
But
And
they do this overcorrection, man. And they did
Yeah,
this giant and it's not even their fault, really. They, meaning Kathleen Kennedy, it's not management's fault. Because management did what the audience always gets mad at management not doing, right? Everybody says, listen to the fans. Why don't you listen to the fans? Right? They always say that shit.
that's what they say. Fans don't know what they want until they get it. Until they get it.
You
Like,
know
that's
what?
true.
Steve Jobs used to fucking actually say that. Steve Jobs goes, they don't know what they want until I tell them what they want.
Right.
And people, why don't you fucking let them customize their own shit? They don't know what they want until I tell them what they want. And when you hear that, you go, what a fucking cocky bastard. And you're like, yes, I will take the new iPhone. Thank you.
Yeah. Like,
but
nailed
still,
it. They announced it today. The new iPhone 14. It's coming out.
so great. Just Jason says Star Wars had no way to get anyone to care about the characters. They also could never coherently explain the New Order and this post-Return of the Jedi era.
Fair. I would like to see, like, they tried to do an animated thing of whatever. Jeff Mercantini, technically her parents are nobodies. She is a clone. Is she? Did they explain that?
She's a clone? Like, this is news to me. Like, I'm now this is like, what?
Did they explain that?
Jason says Game of Thrones at least has good drama worth watching. Daenerys fans have someone new to care about.
You know what sucks about the new show, and it's because I read somewhere that they announced it because they.
First of all, that's your problem right there.
Yeah, I read something.
You read.
But the actress who's playing like the lead girl character, they're gonna, like, she's crushing it. She is great, and then they're gonna do like a 10-year time jump, and then she's not the girl. She's not gonna be the actress playing the character anymore. I'm like, no, I just started liking this girl. What are you talking about? She's engaging. She's great. And it's like hard to carry that over to a new actor playing the same character. If it's going to
don't know. It was done. They did it in Bewitched. So
another guy.
That guy.
But we got to talk about
it a bunch of times, right? Like, how many times has this chick played? Those same two chicks played Darlene Connor from Roseanne. Is it Darlene?
Oh,
Darlene?
no, yeah, Becky. Becky, yeah,
Connor.
the blonde one.
Yeah. It was. I mean, that's fucking TV gold.
Yeah.
That's I mean, only Hollywood could come up with that shit. We're like, okay, we're gonna change the actress, and then 2 years later, we're gonna change her back, and then 5 years later, we're gonna change it back to the other. We're like, what the fuck are we doing? Are you serious? This is like, and we like
the case of the mysterious Aunt Vivs.
Yeah, yeah, but Aunt Viv didn't come back. The original, you know what I mean? Like that's what they kept doing, flip flopping. Each of those actresses has played Becky twice.
Yeah,
2 separate runs, and I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. How they're like, we don't give a fuck to you, viewer. How about that? Suck it. You'll like it because we'll tell you like it. Like, that's Jesus. Like,
all right,
brutal.
Steve Jobs. We do have to talk about Just Jason says the lead girl is awesome. She's great. She's so good. The new Lord of the Rings is great too.
Haven't watched it because I got to binge it. But can I just tell you the show that I started watching 5 years later, 6 years later?
You're always so late to the fucking party.
I just love it. So over the past 2 weeks, the show that I got into was fucking Narcos. Have you seen Narcos?
I saw season 1.
Fuck it. How do you watch season 1 and not continue to season 2? Like, immediately. How do you go? Like, it's not even.
I'll tell you the same shit that happened in Netflix that I complained to Netflix about. I forgot about it, and I didn't want to go invest the time to go learn where everything happened.
So you didn't binge it? No, you didn't binge it.
I watched the first season when it came out,
right?
Because they dropped the whole first season and then
immediately
forget about it.
This is why I'm late to the party. Because when I late to the party, I fucking enjoy all the whole party.
But for a whole series, Neri, for a whole series, you're late to a whole series.
Hey, bro, you know what I didn't do? I didn't forget about it and go fucking miss season 2. Season 2, I might say it might be better than season. It's so fucking amazing.
I know it's
dude.
good. Look, I'm
it's
just now
so
watching
amazing.
Breaking Bad, so I get it.
You're just now watching. I thought you were rewatching it. That's
No,
that's not a
I've
rewatch
never
for
seen
you?
it. I'm just on season 3. I mean, and I'm trying to watch it while I'm watching a bunch of. This is too much. It's almost like
Buckle
homework
up,
now.
Buttercup. Buckle up, Buttercup.
I know.
I
it's
wish.
great. It's
I wish
fucking
I could
great.
rewatch. I wish I could rewatch Breaking Bad, like it was my first time again. I wish I could watch that and not know what's gonna happen.
It's
And I'm
mad
trying
dated.
to wait.
It's super dated, but yeah.
I'm trying to wait a few more years so I could forget and be like, oh yeah, that did happen. But
Oh yeah,
raw.
my wife got me started on Grey's Anatomy, like as a show we can both watch because she loves Grey's Anatomy, so she'll watch it again from the beginning. And I've gotten so far into it, I'm just like, at a certain point, it's not even the medical stuff that gets me out of the show. I'm just like, this is just a fucking novela. Like it's just like too much novela for me. Where I'm like, all right, I gotta stop watching this show.
Also, here's my problem. I don't get into shows that are that long because it's like how much. I mean, how many like Jeff, God bless him. He loves his favorite show is Supernatural, and as one of my best friends, I want to watch Supernatural just to be able to have that conversation and be able to talk to him about it. But then when you start looking at how many episodes it is, they go, no, bro, I can't.
You want me to watch how many fucking episodes? No.
And they're hour-long episodes. They're 45-minute episodes because it's an hour-long show on CW. So it's not even like half-hour episodes. It's hour-long.
God.
And can we look that up? How many episodes they have?
How many hours of my life would I have to dedicate to watch all of Supernatural?
And he's done rewatches.
Well, to be fair, like I mean, I've rewatched like all of Scrubs. I've seen all of
those
Scrubs.
are half-hour.
Those
Those are half.
no, I get
episodes.
it. It's 9 seasons. Well, 8 really.
327 episodes, Mike.
Jesus Christ.
22 episodes a season.
Chris
320.
motherfucking Kringle.
That is a lot, bro. And then he's rewatched. For Jeff could honestly say that he's watched over 1,000 hours of that show.
To be fair, I have watched a D&D show that has like 5,000 hours of like on camera showtime.
What?
So these people playing Dungeons and Dragons, I've watched 5 like incredible amounts of time of them.
I haven't watched 5,000 hours of fucking porn.
I wonder. I'm gonna Google it because
that's the thing. I'm trying to think of the thing that I've watched the most in my life, and it's clearly porn. But I have not watched 5,000 hours of it. I'm watching 15 minutes at a time. It's impossible to get to 5,000 hours. Like, how do you get to that point? 5,000 hours of D&D? Oof. 5,000 hours of DNA. Okay, TNA. I'm in.
Oh man, I want to know how many hours.
Jeff says he's rewatched it at least 3 to 4 times. 3 to 4 times. So 327, bro, times 4.
The show I'm talking about is called Critical Role. It's currently 667 hours longer than One Piece, which has over 1,000 episodes.
I don't know what One Piece is. I'm very confused here.
It's an anime. So the first campaign, which I've watched from front to back twice, has 460 hours. The second campaign has 564 hours, and I've watched it all.
How much is that total?
1,024.
1,024
hours of.
So 4 times.
Not counting the new series that's happening that they're playing. So who knows how long that is?
We're talking about 58,860 minutes. That's how many times. If he's watched Supernatural 4 times, it's a total of 58,860 minutes.
I would just like to point out this comment. Rookie saying, "Late to the party" sounds like a great name for a podcast. And I think I have an idea for it. Just Jason says, some horror games are so good in terms of story that I like watching others do a playthrough. We were just talking about this, especially if the game is all story with little action. That's true. I do like, sometimes I will watch someone just something so I can experience the story of something without actually having to sit through and play it myself. We should do a late to the party thing where something that we both have not seen, that like when we tried to True Romance a thing, which is an old school WuBro reference. We're not going to explain. The OGs have to do that.
981 hours, by the way, of Supernatural is what Jeff has seen.
Eat shit, Jeff. because I've beat you with my Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
To quote the episode to quote the D&D episode of South Park. How do you kill that which has no life?
That's a World of Warcraft though. That's a different.
Oh, is it though? Is it though?
Yes, Mary, it is very different.
How? One of them is a video game and the other one is a board game. Is that what we're complaining? That's what we're that's how
it is a look, Jeff will back me up. It is a tabletop role-playing game. You embody the character. You play the game by personifying your character at the table. You interact and you improvise, and then you let the dice determine your fate.
I really wanted you to be like, and in the other game, you don't play the game. The game plays you.
The game plays you.
The game. Jason says some horror games are so good in terms of story.
I just read that one.
Yeah, he did that. Sorry, I didn't know which one.
Alien Isolation, I've heard is really good. I have not played it.
And Jeff says, I feel like I've watched 980 hours of Neri doing things in the gym. This is facts.
That's true.
This is actual things. Who told you to who told you to be such a good friend and go to my Instagram stories? That's on you, bro. But it's true. These are facts.
Can we talk about Prey? Because that was so fucking good. That's
we got to pray just to make it today.
Talking about prequels and sequels and all kinds of stuff, properties that are like in world, like that are trying to stay within the world.
Yeah.
Prey is like a tech. It's like a picture perfect example of like, this is how you do a thing that pays homage to the original, fixes a lot of bullshit, modernizes it, yet tells an ancient, like in a different set, make it a period piece, and it's super fucking compelling because of the way the story unfolds with the trappers, and then
it's the writing. It's so good. It's just that's
fucking good.
This is why I get upset when elitist filmmakers talk shit about quote unquote superhero movies and talk shit about this is a fucking monster movie, right? Predator is basically a monster movie, or if you want to break it down even further, it's a fucking action movie, right? Oh, it's just an action movie. Shut the fuck up. Good writing is good writing no matter what fucking genre it's in, man. And Prey is a prime example of that shit. Rookie's fucking comment is amazing. I gotta just take a moment. Assuming 90-minute episodes, there are 555 hours of WuBro podcasts, not even counting the other podcasts on the WuBro network, which Rookie has heard them all. And I love the fact that he said assuming 90 minutes because
we've gone over
this for the first like 5 years. WuBro was doing like fucking 3-hour episodes.
3-hour episodes.
That was really
what?
Yeah, that was really long.
I'm Rookie. I'm joining your Patreon now. We don't deserve him.
Since COVID, we've restructured WuBro a bunch of times, but since COVID, I made it a point to be like, we're doing 90-minute episodes.
We can't
because
go over.
Prior to that, it was a good 7 years of that it was like 3-hour episodes, and I would always say it goes as long as it goes. Who gives a fuck? We're having fun. And then now I'm like, no, 90 minutes is good.
We're good.
90 minutes is fine. It's fine. Jason says, Jeff, do you watch Neri squat to correct his form? People. Prey was great. Some details could be better, but as a Predator fan, it was satisfying. I will go on the record. I will say this. I think the Predator franchise itself, I think, has more great movies, not good, great movies than bad. And I think the only bad movies I want to say are the ones where it's Alien versus Predator. I'm not saying that they're all bad. I'm saying that's where it gets like a little wonky. You're like, no, get the fuck out of here. But the Predator movies, Predator 1, classic. Predator 2, underrated. Predator 2 with Danny Glover, man. Underrated.
The Predator doesn't kill the pregnant woman because he has honor. Yes, of course.
Yes,
so
dude.
Good.
Of course. Like, you have a heartbeat inside of you. I'm not a dick.
Yes, and then at the end, the gun. Is the Civil War gun. We disagree. I don't think it's the same gun from the movie from Prey. Someone said it's the same gun from Prey.
I like the fact that you said we have to disagree. I'm like, what do you like? We haven't said anything. What are you talking about? You had this conversation in your head, and you're bringing it. Fucking
I was referencing a previous conversation that was not on this podcast or with you
or with me. I have to disagree. I'm like, oh, sure. I don't.
Okay,
Okay.
so Jeff says the gun is the same one, but it's basically the gun that they give Danny Glover at the end of Predator 2 is the gun from the
Oh,
end
that's
of
fucking
Prey.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. I didn't
Um,
know that.
the
I didn't
name
know
on
that.
the name on the gun was done in a comic book. They did a whole story. It was like a pirate. It was like a French
Right,
pirate.
right.
Um,
Where's that movie? Are we gonna
but
get that movie?
here's what I'm saying, and I'm gonna say this idea, and I don't even care if someone steals it. I just want to
Yeah,
be
we're not stealing it. Just somebody make it, please.
so my version of this kind of story for the MCU would be to make Ghost Rider an anthology series where the spirit of vengeance is be used in different settings. So you could have the spirit of vengeance in Native American culture. You could have a spirit of vengeance in Africa. You could have a spirit of vengeance where like it takes.
Would he be riding a horse in the Native American culture?
It
Or
would be
he always
whatever.
or would it always be a motorcycle?
It'll be a motorcycle, so people will be like, "What? What the fuck?" No, but
Did you see that? Did you see that skull? That flaming skull? Flaming skull! Did you see that thing with the wheels? Get the fuck out of here!
What?
Like,
what is that?
I have questions. I have questions.
So many questions. But whatever it would be for the culture, it would be like the Ghost Rider. So it's whatever they ride. So like if there's like who like in India, there's like a Ghost Rider on a fucking elephant. Hell yes, I want a spirit of it, but it's more like the Ghost Rider spirit of vengeance would be not it would be like that would be not the focus would be on the characters that the Ghost Rider's coming to get, and the Ghost Rider's like the monster coming after them. And there would be chains or whatever, like the binding vine, whips and vines or whatever, like culturally still keep all of the visuals kind of the same, but like have it be each one just a different story.
That'd be a cool TV series.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, bring that. I just want.
Have you been watching She-Hulk, by the way? Because I didn't. I watched episode 1 and I thought it was okay. It was fine. I didn't hate it or love it. It was fine.
It was fine. It was good. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
Some people talking. I've seen the memes already of like the fucking of the dancing. I'm like, oh, that. I don't know how contextually. I don't know how I went because I haven't seen the episode. But as a freeze frame, it did not work. It looked fucking stupid as shit as a freeze frame. You go,
it wasn't meant to be. So that's the thing, is that as you watch the show, you're realizing it's a comedy half-hour sitcom. It's just a sitcom. It's just it's a superhero lawyer.
I don't like the phrasing just a sitcom because again, good writing means great. There's a difference between great sitcoms, Modern Family, and shitty sitcoms. I don't know, Two Broke Girls. There's a difference.
There's like
writing
cliche tropey bullshit, and then there's like good right. What I'm saying is that it's not. So people are expecting it to be like more than it is, but also like the focus is this is a very like narrow story, but like it's half-hour comedy. Like it's not gonna be like a huge thing. It's just telling like the little stories in between stuff that has already happened in the MCU, and like referencing and potentially developing other stuff. The point that people were making where they're like comparing it to like, oh, there's no, they're trying to make everything like, oh, Stan Lee's rolling in his grave. And it's like, man, She-Hulk, the comic, was a break from all of that super serious bullshit. Anyway, She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall before Deadpool did it. She-Hulk did all of this goofy shit. Like,
did she really? I never read a She-Hulk comic, so I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone who's like, oh, this isn't the She-Hulk that we know. It's like, brother, you've not read any of these comics before you say shit like that. And even I haven't read the comics, but people are just literally like, they'll say one thing like
She-Hulk wasn't meant for me. I can't identify with a monster.
I can't identify anyone with glutes that tight.
I could go back to Jason's comment about me doing squats. That part I got.
But the point being is like people are trying to make it more than what it is. Like, yo, this is just a fucking and it's all of the people that are like, oh, it's a woman, like, and then literally the show is making fun of the people, like straight up showing Twitter comments that could have been pulled from the Twitter feed, the comments on actual She-Hulk shit. And it's just mind-boggling how like people get so invested. Like, just tell the fuck it, just watch the show or don't. Like, Just don't like. Why is everybody so fucking mad?
So Jason says in Prey, did you guys buy how the girl beat the Predator at the end?
Using its own tools against him?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah.
As a medical professional, I'll say the herb that cools your body was like interesting. I don't see how that's a real thing, but it's like it was cool. It was interesting.
I liked the fact that they didn't go with the mud. Because when she went in the mud, I was like, oh, fucking, they always find a way to get in the mud. Like, how do, and again, this would have made sense in this world because, again, they're out in the wilderness. Mud does happen.
Yeah.
But I was very excited to be able to see quicksand because growing up in the 80s, quicksand was everywhere. You thought quicksand was going to be a fucking big deal, man. Quicksand and lasers, you thought, holy shit. It's like, as a kid growing up in the 80s, I was like, yo, I gotta watch out for quicksand and lasers every other fucking corner. When I turn the corner of this building, there might be a quicksand pit. I gotta be watching where I step. So when I saw Prey, I was like, oh, that's what quicksand looks like. That's fucking cool as shit, man. Like that's like that. Yeah. It made me think about my fucking childhood. And like, all right. Jeff says the best is I saw a TikTok video where they show someone saying that stuff, and then they show Stan Lee as a DJ in a strip club, and a clip of Stan Lee Stripperella cartoon, which is fantastic. Yeah.
That guy, Stanley's all about.
That guy's rolling in his grave. He played a DJ in a strip club, but I think he had fun. He's all about it. So her twerking isn't exactly like sullying Stanley's legacy, is what he was saying. Jason says, speaking of squats, Neri, you're looking good, almost like you've been working out a lot. Yeah, thank you, but yes, I am. Appreciate that. I'm boring the fuck out of Jeff with it, but yeah, I'm absolutely doing that.
The cooling blood does seem like medical. Just Jason, the cooling blood does seem like a medical BS thing. And look, I'm sure whatever.
She was sure that it worked. Was a bit. Okay,
I don't think she was sure that it would work. I think she was doing whatever she could.
Oh no, she knew that it would work because she knew that plant. She's like, if you give him too much, it'll cool him down. They already explained that earlier in the movie with.
I think he's talking about that he would end up right in the crosshairs where the
I think I thought that Jason was talking about how did she was so sure that the plant with the herb thing he couldn't see it. I'm like, yeah, but they explained that part. But you're right.
They said something about that he can't see because of the heat of the blood, whatever. The cold.
No, he said because she gave it to one of the injured people, and then the predator couldn't see him.
Right.
And she like watched, and it's like, oh shit, she can't.
Yeah. The other part about how like it lines up perfectly, it's like, hey, it's a movie, baby. It's a big giant alien guy with lasers and claws and shit coming at you.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like it's okay. It's okay to suspend disbelief. That was the whole thing about like I saw a video of Stanley, speaking of Stanley, where he's like, oh, could the Hulk really beat Wolverine, or could Spider-Man really like who could really beat Galactus?
He said that a lot.
And then at a certain point, he's like, you want to know who would win? Whoever the writer wants to win.
Yeah, he would say
the writer is telling a story, and there's and it's like, who cares if you're doing the math? You're doing it wrong,
And every time he said that, fucking nerds died. Like, oh no, like that's like they were like, no, I want you to fucking see the Hulk would win. Like,
yeah,
like, can you fucking?
So the Hulk beats Superman. It's a comic book story. It's not real.
I was getting a tattoo one time and me and my tattoo artist were talking about like who would win in a fight, right? Blah blah blah. And then we were like, we're at first. And then as I'm getting a tattoo, and then because this is the time you want to argue with your tattoo artist. Yeah. It's like, no, you're fucking wrong. So we ask another tattoo artist. He's like, hey James, and then the fucking other tattoo artist goes, was in the middle of a conversation. He goes, hold on. What fake fictitious characters were you talking about fighting in a fake fictitious fight? Like it's just like who do you think
you arguing about?
Who do you think would win in a fake fictitious thing with an alien that doesn't exist? Who do you think which specific thing? Jeff says they established in the beginning that she was learning to become a better hunter using tools, i.e. adding the rope to the tomahawk. That was such a cool fucking thing too, man.
Yeah, that's not real either. Like that, there's no way that could have worked either. But it looked dope, so let's use it.
Yeah, but you don't think ninja stars work, so there goes that. I mean, you legitimately don't believe that ninja stars could injure somebody like that?
No. Like... They could absolutely. I've been injured by a ninja star as a child of the 80s. I have been hurt by a ninja star.
Yeah.
I like when they throw it and it like goes like a quarter inch into somebody's like
No,
shoulder.
you said that it wouldn't kill them. That's what you
Yeah.
said. That's what you said. I'm
Yeah,
like,
like,
if it hits
not
you
gonna
in the
kill 'em.
eye, if it hits you in the eye,
You're still not gonna die.
I don't know.
You'll just be like, ow, fuck my eye.
Yeah. It's not far-fetched to learn, for her to learn what he is using by watching and adapting. Yeah, I mean, the far-fetched part would be, never mind. I was about to say a sexist ass joke. A woman fucking learning by not saying anything, keep it monster. You get the fucking joke.
Yeah.
Jason says, her plan to initiate a fight with a predator so strong that he could shoulder press a grizzly bear seems absurd.
Dope.
Jason, are you saying that it's absurd for a woman to pick a fight knowing that she is in the wrong and might lose? That's what you're saying?
I don't know how to move on from this
I
topic.
love the fact that every married dude is like,
well, no, I look, I will say again, like that's the story they're telling. It showed progression. I bought it. I absolutely like wouldn't have picked it wouldn't have picked it apart. But there was definitely that feeling of they set it up enough. We've always talked about like suspension of disbelief here, where you're like, give me. It doesn't have to don't make it realistic. Make it understandable. That's it. Just make it understandable. Make it be like, I understand why this is happening in a movie with a fucking alien in it. You know what I mean? Like there's, like there
was a lot of aliens in that movie. There was the Predator. There were the white people who didn't belong there. There were illegal aliens.
They were illegal.
Those were illegal aliens.
That's right.
They didn't have any document. I promise you, there was no documentation allowing them into their fucking foreign land.
But there was like the progress being made was relevant and like showed like, yeah, okay, cool. And the fact that she becomes this like driven person, she's already shown that she's like good, and the dog lives. So
I knew for a fact they could have killed dog. I remember. That's
no
the
way.
one thing that took me out of the movie. Is I know in any one of these movies where there's a dog in battle, I'm like, there's no way they could kill the fucking dog. It's a rule. It's a Hollywood rule. If the dog dies in a movie, it's because the dog died of natural causes, or like it can't die from a fucking arrow to the head. It can't. Like
then you get John Wick.
American audiences will not allow for that shit to happen.
Without a John Wick happening.
Right, exactly. John Wick was only allowed to do that in the movie because the dog was in 4 minutes prior to that movie, prior to the killing. And then the rest of the fucking next 3 movies was John Wick fucking killing everybody who harmed his dog. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Look at part 2. Or was it part 2 or part 3? Part 3 with Halle Berry. She had 2 dogs. They couldn't kill those fucking dogs.
No, the one of them got shot though, but it had a bulletproof vest.
Bulletproof vest, because we all know that's a thing.
That's a thing. Dogs get Kevlar. Do you want me to read the I am the asshole?
Sure. All right.
I got it here.
All right. So her just go through the comments. Her brother put up with a hell of a fight against a predator. I had to rewatch. That fight was dope with her brother. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, gone but not forgotten. Jason is saying that ninja stars are unlikely to kill. Again, prove it.
Ow. Oh no.
It would I'm just happy the dog survived. And Jason said the movie overall was good. I agree. It was a great episode in the Predator saga, but I can't help but notice these technical details. They're like neon signs to me. Jeff says, I Am Legend. Yeah, it got killed by fucking monster. Right, like it had to be like zombies. Like it doesn't. And plus, nobody Turner and Hooch. Again, these movies are like it died to protect its owner. Like it's one of those you can't, fucking.
Jeff is poking holes in your joke thing.
Yeah. I know. That's his thing. He does that.
That's Jeff's thing.
That's Jeff. Jeff's thing.
So you sent me for this week's I'm the Asshole. You sent me this thing that was posted on Instagram by friend of the show, Matika Lopez.
Right.
And I've not read it yet, so you're witnessing me read this for the first time. It was an Instagram post of a picture of a man. I wonder if I could. Can I share it?
Sure.
I guess, right? Let's see. Oh no, it's not on. Never mind. I'm just gonna read it. It's a gentleman, shaved head, tattoo on his head, very manicured beard, and it's posted. It says, "Look at you go." On Sunday, hold on, let me make it bigger so I can fucking. On Sunday, September 4th, 2022, Heaven inherited a sucker-free guardian angel.
That's not. That wasn't. That wasn't.
Is that not the thing you sent me?
No, 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 no. What happened was that story is long gone, and
Oh,
so
shit.
now you're witnessing the current story, which is not the story. So the story is this:
Wow.
she talked about this on the radio because she's a radio DJ. So this is not one of those things where I don't want to make it seem as if I'm betraying trust here. Like she put this out for public consumption.
Oh.
She is dating a man who has a child with somebody else. They were going to Disney for the weekend, for Labor Day weekend, and the child's mother said, you need to take her, or I don't know if she said you need to or can you take the daughter with you to Disney for the weekend with you guys, because Martika was going with her boyfriend. The baby mama was like, take your daughter, and Martika was like, no problem. I have no problems with, even though the way she phrased it made it seem as if the woman was demanding that the daughter go to Disney World with the couple. Martika has no problem. She loves the kid. She said so many times. She said, I love this kid. I have no problems in taking her to Disney. Problem came in where she is then, like 2 days before the trip, saying that she has to have a separate room, and the Martika and her boyfriend, aka baby daddy, cannot sleep in the same room. They have to have separate hotel rooms because she doesn't want to have to explain that to her daughter about the daughter, like, oh, your dad is sleeping with another woman, and demanding that was clear that the woman, the child's mother was saying, there is no option. You cannot sleep in the same room. You cannot sleep in the same hotel room. You guys, both of you have to get 2 separate hotel rooms.
That's wild.
And I was like, and Martika was like, am I wrong for like this? Like, does she have a right to demand this? Does she have a right to say this? Does she have a, and I was like, fuck that person, is what I fucking said. I was like, hell to the fucking no. I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? I mean, I think that was a good, am I the asshole? Because it's like, am I the
It's
asshole
interesting.
for,
I wish
yeah.
I wish I don't know, it's not a screenshot. She was just telling the story.
Well, she, on her Instagram stories, she was just telling the stories, and then she put it up for, she did a poll. Am I wrong for this? And people were like writing in and chiming in and commenting.
Well, there's a clear answer. It's like, look, the real thing, that it's like you're left with 2 choices. Either the girl comes and you're doing it the way that that you were going to do it, and the daughter comes and you have a great time or whatever, blah blah blah. Or the girl, you can't obligate these people to spend an extra 3, like, when they could have gotten 1 room, 3 rooms
or 2 rooms. Because I'm assuming the dad could be with the dad will be with the daughter, right? I get what you're saying.
Whatever it is, but like you're still doing like you're obligating a fucking shit ton of money.
See, people went there. People went in that direction. Her listeners were like, is she gonna pay for the hotel room? I'm like, that's not the fucking point.
No.
Fuck you. Like, that's, yeah. I'm sorry. I get it.
The point, yeah. But the idea of like, oh well, that's like, like even then, like even on the surface level, it's like, nah, man, you can't really do that. But at a certain point, it's like, all right, well, we can't do that, so we're not gonna be able to take the girl with us if that's your choice. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. If that's what you're putting me in a position that I can't do that, so I'm sorry, but then she can't come. And that's.
I think she knew that wasn't gonna happen. So
she was trying. You think she was trying to start shit?
I think she was doing one of 2 things. A, this is either gonna turn out and start some shit starting, or B, they're gonna cancel the trip. Either way, she's happy.
Right.
Like that was her mindset going into this. Like, this is the ultimatum that I'm going to put out there, and the only outcome that's going to come from this, or the third option is they actually fucking get 2 rooms, and then either way I win. Like, that's to her. Like, I feel as if the
Feels very petty,
vindictiveness
yeah.
it feels fucking petty as shit and whatever the
Yeah.
fuck. And some of Martica's listeners were like, "Yo, if I were you, I'd send pictures to her of like hanging out at Disney, whatever." I'm like, and Martica was like, "I'm not that petty." I'm like, Martica, I love you, but you're posting this on public. You're literally posting this on public consumption. You are that petty, and here's the thing: I love you for being that petty, because fuck yeah, I am petty spaghetti, bro. I am right there. I will be posting pictures of my fucking hotel room with the fucking 1 bed. Give a fuck. How dare you fucking suck a dick?
I think Rookie's got it right. It's not Martica's fault this woman can't talk to her kid. I figure that's a big I don't know how old the kid is. Jeff said, does the mother think they're going to be screwing if they're screwing? Good Lord, Jeff. If there is some concern, it's easy. The dad could share the bed with his kid. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how old the kid is, so I can't really say specifically. But what I'm saying is that, like, look, if the girl comes, I would say that, look, you talk to the kid and you say that daddy's seeing this new person right now and he's in a relationship with this new woman, et cetera, and so we're gonna stay that's why we're on this trip together. You can come with us. And I don't understand why you have to even bring up the fact that if they're gonna be fucking or not, whatever. Like, she's screwing. I'm sorry, Jeff. And then, or the second thing is I would never tell the girl, the daughter, this, but I'd be like, hey, you can't come because your mom has very specific rules that I don't know if I can meet. I'm very sorry. But your mom put me in a position.
It doesn't matter how old the kid is.
That sucks too for the kid.
It doesn't matter how old the kid is, because the kid is either old enough to know that the parents are not together. Therefore, you know that if you're either old enough to know that your parents are not together. So therefore, you're old enough to understand that even if we go 2 separate rooms, my dad is probably going to be banging some chick on this trip, right? Because if I'm old enough to understand divorce, I'm old enough to understand you have a new girlfriend. I'm old enough to understand you're probably going to be banging this chick. And if you're not that old, if you're too young to understand the whole dating thing, then why the fuck does it matter anyway?
Man, I'm so happy I use condoms. I cannot.
You get a
I'm
vasectomy.
so happy, but I didn't have it back in the day. I'm so happy. I cannot tell you. I'm so happy I've never had to deal with situations like this.
I gotta be.
I cannot tell you. This is exactly why.
I don't think this is exactly why. I think the hard part is for you is that, like,
this is exactly why. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is 99%. Like, this whole process of like negotiating with someone who you were like irrevocably connected to for the rest of this child's life, for the rest of your life. Yes, Rookie says, "Come on, Jeff, it's smashing."
It's smashing.
You know what I mean? Like
it's piping, Rookie. It's piping.
Piping. My God.
Remember that one? One? Yo, did you pipe?
I like how proud
Piper.
Piper. You remember that?
That was a thing that we used to say in high school. Remember that?
Yes.
Oh, I piped her. Piped her? What are you, a fucking plumber? What are you talking about?
What kind of bullshit type of? I've seen you in gym. Shut the fuck up. I've seen you in the showers. You ain't laying pipe.
Who gives this? Like, that's
you're laying straw. Fuck you. You straw. But the idea of like being put in this position, because it does suck. Every possible combination is terrible. I feel so bad for the girl that has to be put in between these two parents that are well, the mother at least is petty as fuck. And again, we're only hearing it from Martica's side, so we have no idea how it was.
Even
I'm not saying. I'm just
in Martica's story, Martica comes off as petty because she's already putting it on the radio.
Yes,
she's
course.
Already putting it. It's already coming off as petty. But again, and I say this with
she's
love,
the mom. She has the right to
act. I'm all fucking for it. I'm all for it. You can't come into my. As an entertainer, bro. Whatever the fuck happens. Like I told my wife, my best album is gonna be the divorce album. Oh, the shit that I'm gonna fucking. I mean, that's gonna be the name of the album is gonna be called the Divorce album. That's the name of the album, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, fuck it. There's so many times where she says some shit where I just look at her, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna go to the Divorce album. So as an entertainer, I'm fully like, I'm all for it. Like, so when Martika was like, I'm gonna put this on the radio, dude, what do you guys think? And she had callers, people calling in with this shit. I'm like, I think it's fair
That
game.
is
I'm all
wild.
for- Yes, I'm all
That
for
is
it. I'm all for it.
also like, I get that you're all for it, but that does make you kind of an asshole.
Oh, like I said, I'm petty spaghetti, bro. I'm fucking in. Like
Yeah,
I am not.
yeah.
I am not debating or not. I am super petty. I am all for it, and I think
Yeah,
Martico is
definitely.
petty as well. So that's why when you're like, oh, we only got one side of the story, I'm like, but she's not looking good. Like she wasn't coming off
Yeah,
clean either. But
No,
I'm
no,
all
no.
for. I'm still all for. Did you ever watch the Matt Damon movie right now with Adam Driver, the one the Ridley Scott movie?
The Duel. I did.
The Duel.
I
Did
ended
you
up
watch
watching
The Duel?
it.
So the Duel, right? For the listeners, fantastic movie, right? But
Yeah.
it's told in 3 separate points of view. The same story is told in 3 separate points of view. From point of view A, from point of view B, from Matt Damon's character's point of view, from Adam Driver's character's point of view, and then from the woman's point of view, Matt Damon's wife, right? And so Adam Driver's character gets accused of raping this woman, right? Which he says.
I know where you're going.
So then they give his point of view, right? So Matt Damon gives his tells his story like this, and he raped my wife. And then they cut to, and now from the point of view of Adam Driver, he does not come off looking good at this fucking. From his point of view,
His version of the
rape.
story, he's raping the guy's wife too. Like in both
from
versions.
From his point of view, from Adam Driver's characters, I forget the name, but from this character's point of view, he was like, it wasn't rape because she wanted it. Look at the way she was flirting with me 6 months ago. That was the fucking point of view.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, that's rape.
I remember saying the same shit to my wife. We were watching it because we didn't know that it was that type of story, the 3 stories.
Yeah, of course.
And then finally, when it got to the other version, I was like, oh, okay, all right, I see this is good. Okay, cool.
Right.
And then they showed the wife's version of the story, and it's like, yep, still rape. Still
But I'm watching this movie and I'm like fucking live texting Missy because Missy saw it before I did, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, he's not coming off looking good in his own version.
Yeah.
In his own version, he's wrong. I'm like, this is not even like it's he said, she said. It's like, no, it's you know what he said? The same thing.
I mean, but more flirting.
Yeah, but it was like more flirting, and in my version, I was wearing green shoes, not red shoes. So he's way off.
He's way off. And then he's like, we're gonna battle to the death in the eyes of the Lord. It's like, no. He admitted.
Yeah.
Did he not admit? He admitted. No duel.
No duel. No duel was needed. No duel was needed.
I loved Ben Affleck in that movie. I loved Ben Affleck in that movie.
He could play a douchebag like nobody's fucking business, bro. He could play a douchebag like ain't nobody's business, man.
So
I'm telling you right now.
So look, I will say this. In terms of Madika is put in a position also where my stepmom has been a regular on the show forever. She comes on and gives her comments. She tells a story about like how she with my mom, and when my dad and my mom were arguing, that she would have to kind of take a back seat because there was not her,
or she didn't feel comfortable. I don't want to say the phrase it's not her place, but she didn't have
no, but like or whatever it is, like that feeling of like taking a step back of like. And then when it affected her, she communicated effectively. She did a good job of communicating, and then like set boundaries and shit like that. The problem is that in this particular case, if
I will say that Yolanda, which by the way is a 100 your stepmom, which is a 100%er, meaning that 100% of the people that have ever commented on or like in every episode that she's commented on, 100% of the people love Yolanda.
Yeah, everybody loves
amazing.
Yolanda,
Everybody loves Yolanda, and when she is watching an episode, she's very active in comments, and and I will say that ever since I physically met your mom and she went to my show, I was like, yeah, I'm team Mike's mom.
You picking sides?
Not that there's a team.
Are you picking sides? Enough time is look, man. We're all old now. Who gives a shit? But the idea of
that's
like
my child. Your child's 40.
Yeah,
your child's 40.
Tell my mom that's my baby. I'm a 41-year-old baby.
Yeah.
But the truth is like Madika is in the wrong. I don't know to broadcast personal shit on the air.
I don't think that's in the wrong.
I think
she's an entertainer. That's a performer. That's what we do. That comedians do that.
I get it.
You talked about your stepdad in his fucking fire shorts, and that he gets laid, and that this is what we do. Entertainers, this is what we do, man.
I do feel
that's not in the wrong.
I'm not necessarily in the wrong, but I do feel like it's
petty.
Petty, yeah, it's not good. but also like the mom of the daughter has a say over how she wants the daughter, but then the mom has to accept that the daughter can't go.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You can't force
Yeah.
this trip. You can't force your daughter on this trip and then make rules for this trip. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Your rules, if you're if you're imposing your daughter on my trip, your only rules, quote unquote, should be keep her safe and healthy. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't kill her.
Bring her back in one piece.
Bring her back in one piece and not traumatized. And you know what I mean? Like that's it. That should be it. That should be your rules. Like I'm returning this because you're imposing it. Like, that's the only quote unquote rules you should be able to make. The only demand you should be able to be like, hey, if you want to talk about specifics, be like, can you do me a favor and not take her to Halloween Horror Nights though? Like that's a little bit too much.
Right.
Like that shit like that. That's fucking
can you
understandable.
not actively have intercourse in front of my daughter, please?
Yeah, yeah. Can you like not? You know, like, that's other. I don't even want to say like I was gonna get more fucking grotesque and be like,
yeah.
I don't even want to.
Don't raise the stakes right now. This is bad. But yeah,
so,
but I get it. I get it.
But again, you shouldn't. You don't have that right, man. You don't have that right. This is not your trip. If you want to go on that trip, now you want to put yourself in there. That's a separate conversation now, right? You want to enforce these rules. I don't want my daughter seeing you with another woman, or then you go and you pay for the hotel room, your hotel room with our kids. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, there's a lot. Again, we're only going by the Am I the Asshole rules. What was in the post. So we can speculate, but we got to mention that there's the other thing. From what it said, it's like it feels weird on both sides. It feels bad, but either way,
I'm fine with all of it. I'm fine with the pettiness of it. As an entertainer, I put all my business out there. I don't give a fuck. And that's who I am, baby. That's who I am. You know what's funny? You know who tells me not to put shit out there? The people who I would never want to be put, who I would never want to tell these stories on stage. It's always like, oh, don't put this in your act. It's like, you're my Uber driver. Calm the fuck down. Like,
don't put this in your act.
Yeah.
What? Put what in my act?
What are you talking about? Oh, now I know you're gonna make a joke about this. What do you? Fuck. You know who had a great one about that? Conan. Conan talked about this with a guest. They were like, "Oh, don't put this in your show." Like, he's like, "Oh yeah." So the hot dog guy spills a little bit of mustard on my tie. He's like, "Oh, don't put this in your act." He's like, "Who do you think? Why? Like, what's the entertainment value in putting that in the act? What do you think? It's not that good." And then Andy was like, "Yeah, but you kind of just did put that in your show now.
Yeah,
you just did tell that story in your act now." Yeah, that's really fucking good. Jason says, so why didn't dad set his ex straight? That's hilarious. That phrasing, set your ex straight. Oh, hilarious. I'm not taking her if you're going to impose these rules. Again, these are conversations that might have happened. You're right. You're right, Jason. I don't like the phrase set her straight, but I would rather the phrase, here are my boundaries.
Right.
Here are my, bitches, you crazy? These are my.
Is you ain't my baby?
Is you ain't my baby? Anyways, that's it, man. We gotta go. Hold on. Do you get more people asking to be put in your act or asking to not? No, I get more people. Jason, he asked it. Do I get more people asking to be put in my act or not to be put in my act? Again, it's always people don't put me in your act, but it's always like in the context of like, oh no, you're gonna make fun of me because like what? I don't know, because
I'm gonna make fun of you to your face, and that's about as far as anybody's gonna give a shit about.
This story is not that funny. Like it's usually people who go like, they'll see me having lunch or something, and they'll be like, is that are you? Also, you're eating a salad? Oh, don't put that in your act. It's like, this interaction was not funny enough for me. Like the fact that you are even concerned that this is going to be put in, like it's not that level of funny.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network that include, but are not limited to, the Better Let Me Tell You podcast, Chow Like a Best with Mike Valdez, Kick Flicks with Mike, myself, and Jeff. Martial Arts Movie Podcast. Geek More is coming back in about a month. So just have to take a break. My scheduling has been fucking bonkers. Which is a great thing. More work, means more goodness for me. So thank you guys for checking out the other podcasts on the Geekbro Network. Go to geekbro.net, check out those podcasts. Love you. Thank you very much. And that's how winning is done.